Hi everyone, welcome to Studio 14. I'm Kim Newcomer with the City of Fort Collins. Thanks for joining us today. Well, I have to say it is the season for road construction, and while last time we might have heard a little bit about our street maintenance program, that's only half of it. So here in the studio, I have two of my favorite engineers joining me today for the very first time on Studio 14 to tell us a little bit more about some of the big projects that are going to be taking place over the next few months. So let me introduce you to them. Tim Kemp. Tim, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Kim.
And Randy Maislin. Randy, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, now I'm not just building you up. You're two of my favorite engineers, and I cannot believe you haven't been on the show before, so thank you for joining us. The projects we're going to be talking about, North College and Harmony. So let's just start with some grounding on when we say North College, Randy, what area are we talking about?
North College really is a concept that started in 2004, and it extends from Jefferson all the way up to Willits. Now, a couple of those phases have been completed. The current phase that we're working on now that's under construction is from the Poudre River up to the Conifer Hickory intersection.
Great. So that's sort of the north end of town.
Correct.
And that work's going on right now.
It's under construction now. It started in December.
Okay.
And it is expected to be completed by October this year.
Great. And now on the other side of town, Tim, this is where you're working, and you're working on Harmony. What part?
Harmony, just east of the Harmony and College intersection. We made improvements to that intersection a couple years ago.
Right.
And then the other limit is just west of Timberline, so nearly
That's a
2
long
miles.
stretch.
Yeah, we're going through Boardwalk, McMurray, JFK, LeMay, so yeah, a pretty long stretch.
Yeah. So, these are sort of two independent projects. So for the folks watching at home, and I always get a little bit confused, right? What's the difference between these efforts and then the whole street maintenance work that we heard about last time with Larry Schneider and Darren Moritz? So, sort of what's the difference between the work that takes place?
Yeah. You want me to?
Yeah, go right
start
ahead,
out?
Tim.
Yeah,
Okay.
throw them under the bus. You go, Tim.
In particular to the Harmony project, it will appear to the public as a street maintenance project.
Right.
That's the main chunk of the work, but we are adding in a few other things, some dedicated right turn lanes. So we had some design work there, a little bit of temporary construction easement. So those are some of the things that street maintenance department doesn't usually get into.
Right,
That's
so
what
they're kind of
kicked it
more
over to a
focusing on that
capital project.
that road only, where you
Yeah.
guys are looking at maybe some other improvements.
Right, and also as part of the Harmony project, we have some upgrades that we'll be doing with the Union Pacific Crossing, which is the railroad about halfway between McMurray and Timberline.
So when we talk about improvements to the crossing, I think, so what I think of is it's going to be smoother, right? It's gonna be nicer. Is that what that means, or is there
A
some
little bit.
safety elements?
Yeah, actually, in my personal opinion, that's one of our better crossings in town. But we have made improvements to a lot of the others recently.
Yeah.
But this one, when I say upgrades, we're looking at all new signals, gates, wiring, battery backups.
Oh, okay.
The equipment out there right now is about 20 years old, so it's getting near the end of its serviceable life.
Right.
So it's time for a change. Plus, we need to make sure we're in line with current regulations to bring 6 lanes across the tracks instead of the 4 we have now. So.
Wow. So, a little bit of it should help traffic flow.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, probably a big piece of that. So similarly, up on then the north end, we're going to be bouncing back and forth, north end, south end, north end, south end. But up on North College, beyond just replacing the road, there's a lot of other elements that go into this project.
Oh yeah, this is a major capital improvement project, and so you'll see a complete facelift in this area. We're talking about widening the road out and adding a lot of improvements on the edges that normally a maintenance project wouldn't include.
Okay.
And so we're talking about a lot of new installation of facilities,
So is that like sidewalks?
sidewalks, curb and gutter, landscaping.
So so it's really going to look different.
Oh, it'll be a complete 180-degree change up there.
That'd be great, because some of that, some of the improvements up along North College, and you alluded to this a little bit earlier, have already taken place. So sort of walk me through the different pieces of North College and what's been done, what hasn't been done, what's planned.
So really this will be the third phase. The first phase was from Jefferson up to the Poudre River.
Okay.
And that was a widening project. We added bike lanes and sidewalks and landscaping. And the next phase that happened just in 2010 was for the North College Marketplace development up at College and Willix.
Right.
And so that left a gap from the Poudre River up to the Willix intersection.
Okay.
And the funding we received for the phase that's under construction now is from the Poudre River up to the Conifer Hickory intersection.
Okay. And then there'll be one small gap
And then we
left.
have a half-mile gap from Hickory up to Willix that's currently under design now, and I know that staff and City Council is actively looking for funding sources
Right.
for construction.
So, I mean, let's talk about those funding sources. You said sort of the funding that you have now for this project. Where does that come from?
There's several funding sources. There are grants, federal grants that go into this. There's the URA funding that will be going
Right.
into this. And then we have a Building on Basics tax
Okay.
initiative
Right.
that was specifically dedicated to this project. And so there's several funding sources.
Yeah. I mean, similarly, this makes me think of Harmony, because Harmony used to be CDOT
It
road.
did.
Or maybe it still is.
No,
Okay.
no,
I was like, I think it used to be.
City owned and maintained since 2006.
Okay, so that was when the Colorado Department of Transportation
Mm-hmm.
sort of bequeathed it to us. I mean, how did that
Yeah.
work?
That was an ownership and maintenance transition. We actually traded, used to be State Highway 68, Harmony Road, as everyone knows it, for another road down south. And with that came money from the state, which we call our Harmony Maintenance Fund.
Okay.
And so with that, we identified, with the state's help, some key capital improvement projects that needed to happen. And that ownership is from College to Strauss Cabin.
Okay.
So pretty close to College to I-25.
Yeah.
And as people are pretty well aware, we've done quite a few of those improvements. And then this stretch from College to Timberline is the last one on our list to make that happen. So we have multiple funding sources, just like Randy does, but a majority of it is from the Harmony Maintenance Fund. And
So-
we'll also be using some Bob
Oh.
Building on Basics intersection money. So
Yeah, I love how we all refer to it as Bob,
Bob,
but building on basics. You know, similar to Randy's project, where there was all the, you know, sort of these chunks happening at a time. You said that this might be sort of the last big
Yeah.
piece on Harmony for a while.
it is, yeah.
That'll be
Yeah,
nice.
so it'll be yeah, we'll be fixing the pavement. Pavement rehabilitation is the biggest thing. This stretch is in dire need of it, especially the College to Boardwalk. That stretch is pretty rough, so we'll fix that up, and then the entire corridor will get a 2-inch overlay, restriping, and then we'll go to a 6-lane alignment from Boardwalk to Timberline. So when we're all done, we'll have 6 lanes on Harmony with on-street bike lanes from Boardwalk to I-25.
Wow.
So in accordance with the Master Street Plan.
So with both these projects, we're kind of looking at, you know, street maintenance, right? We're looking at some safety improvements, so adding sidewalks and those type of things. We talked about congestion and capacity, and then it's just going to look a whole lot nicer. I mean, that's kind of a big deal. So all those things sound great, but it's sort of the short-term impacts that I think people always go, oh man, another cone? You guys are everywhere. And you are, and it's a good thing. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, what can people expect now? Let's start with you, Randy. When they are heading up North College, do we have closures going on right now? Will we have closures? What can people expect when they're trying to get around town?
Well, the construction up there is definitely going to be a significant impact to these businesses up there.
Right.
And I don't want to downplay that or understate it in any way. I mean, anytime you need to rebuild or add to a 4-lane arterial, you're going to be seeing a lot of cones out there. And so what we have approved from CDOT is 1 southbound lane and 2 northbound lanes and a center reversible turn lane. And that'll be through the duration of the project. So right now we're working on the west side of College. In June, we'll flip over to the east side of College,
Okay.
but we'll still maintain that same lane configuration.
Okay.
But you'll see our work zone, we'll have concrete jersey barriers protecting it, and then you'll see a lot of cones out there for all of the other work that's going along the sidelines there. During the day, we may have to do some lane drops, so at times you may have to shift down to one lane in each
Right.
direction for a short period of time in the non-peak hour traffic times. But in general, it'll be that 2 northbound, 1 southbound lane configuration. And the main part of it is when we're paving through and adding sidewalk and pavement in front of these businesses, their direct access from College is going to be significantly impacted.
Right.
But we've made a promise to these business owners that we wouldn't take their access away. So at all times,
Okay.
they will have access to their business, whether it be off a side street or from another adjacent driveway on the property next door, but we will maintain access at all times.
Yeah, I mean, it's important because that is hard on businesses. And I mean, it's sort of this necessary evil to have that level of inconvenience, right? I mean, we have to make sure the roads are safe and of the quality that people want. But you hate to cause that inconvenience. And I do know it's hard on businesses. So it's a great reminder to just let people know that they are open. You can access them. It might not be the way that you're used to, but you can definitely access them and, encourage folks to continue to go there.
And we've put a lot of effort into working with the business owners ahead of time, and so there's no surprises. And we have a dedicated public information specialist who's working for the contractor.
Right.
And so he's out there every day, full time, and walking into these businesses a week ahead of time before we get in
Right.
front of them and letting them know exactly what's going to be taking place, so that they can come up with a strategy or a plan that works for that
Yeah.
business.
Well, similarly, Harmony has a ton of retail, a ton of business.
Yeah.
So I can imagine sort of similar efforts taking place. What can we expect down there?
Yeah, our setup is going to be a little bit different than Randy's. North College, we have a lot of business accesses that tie right into College, and they're
Right.
spaced pretty tight. On Harmony, we've got that old kind of state highway feel of, I guess, limited accesses
Right,
right
it's
off
kinda
of Harmony.
set back even a little bit.
Yeah,
more,
so
too.
we're not going across business owner, business owner, business owner, so it'll look a little bit different. And our setup will be a little bit more of a moving operation, especially early on as we do our pavement repairs. We'll be moving up and down the corridor quite a bit. Most of the work will occur at Harmony and LeMay. That intersection
Think
will.
about that. Okay.
Can you picture
Yeah,
it?
I had to
Yeah.
get there, but now
We're
I'm
adding,
there.
we added a turn lane last year with a separate project and separate funding.
Okay.
And this year we're going to come back and put 2 more turn lanes in
Oh,
at that
wow.
intersection.
Is that a busy?
So-
I mean, how does that rate? I don't know. I'm putting you on the spot here,
Yeah.
Tim. Is that one of our busier intersections? It always
is.
feels crazy busy,
It is.
but
College and
Not crazy.
Harmony, actually the 2 bookends for this project are probably our 2 busiest, College and Harmony Harmony and Timberline.
okay.
Harmony and Timberline kind of controls the signal timing for this whole area, just the volume and
Yeah.
the number of left turns. But the limits of our project, we're seeing about 50,000 cars a day on
geez.
Harmony. So
Wow.
so yeah, and along with what Randy's doing, we're just ramping up our public outreach. We're about a month away from construction start. We have some blue informational signs that have already been out for about a month.
Right.
We're going to recommend detour routes. East-west will be Horsetooth and Trilby, north-south, College and Timberline.
Okay.
So just trying to take our communication plan and start implementing it as well.
Yeah. Get people in the
Yeah,
know.
and one other thing too that I wanted to point out, something new that our traffic department implemented last year with the street maintenance program is a working restriction on the hours at the arterial intersections.
Okay.
So the contractor cannot be in there between 7 and 8:30 in the morning.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and 3:30 to 6 in the afternoon.
I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
it probably is challenging for your contractors,
it is.
but for
But,
someone who's driving, that's
Yeah,
nice.
the contractor that we're awarding to has done a lot of work in
Yeah.
the city, so they're very familiar. But that allows us to open up those arterial intersections during the rush
Yeah.
hour and get those vehicles through, and then hopefully without much complication. So we did that last year with the street maintenance program, and the traffic department had a lot of good things to say about that. It really helped.
So that is good.
So we'll be doing the same thing on Harmony.
So one of the tools last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, I sort of lose time these days, but the webpage, the FC Trip webpage, which is a resource at fcgov.com/fctrip, and it pops up this nice little map, and it has all these cones all over it, and it kind of lets you see what work's going on when, and a really good tool for just, planning your trip. I think most people don't mind construction if they know it's going to be there and they can avoid it. Or, you just kind of plan an extra few minutes in your day. So a really good resource I want to remind folks, fcgov.com/fctrip. So, well, it's good to know. I mean, we always say that summer is crazy, right? Summer is crazy. There's cones everywhere. We're doing a lot of street maintenance. We're doing a lot of capital projects. I mean, these two projects by themselves are really significant, and it's in addition to other things, right? So how, as a department, how do you manage all this, right? I mean, is it one person sort of takes charge of each project, or is it, someone making sure that we actually can get east-west and we're not all working on all east-west roads at the same time? I mean, how does that coordination work?
There is a lot of coordination, but I think that the FC Trips is part of that coordination too. I mean, when they go in to plan all these things, I mean, we definitely consider the other projects that are happening in the same time frame and make sure that we're not going to be doing two closures at the same time that affect each other significantly. So
that's good.
Yeah.
So when will these projects then wrap up? I mean, you're busy working now. You start I can't remember mid-May. So when can we expect it all sort of cleaned up and moved on?
Well, substantial completion for North College is going to be in October.
Okay.
There may be some stuff at the end to wrap up with landscaping and some of the artistic pieces and things like that at the end. But yeah, it'll look basically done by October.
Okay. Great.
And Harmony is a 90-day project, 90
Oh, wow.
days.
You guys are trying to bust it out.
Yeah, we're looking at mid-May to mid-August.
Yeah.
And the same with Randy. I expect most of the paving work to be done late July.
Okay.
And then probably a couple weeks in August, just cleaning up on the edges, reseeding, a little bit of landscape as well. So
what are those big sort of impactful events that happen? So I'm sitting here thinking, well, okay, you'll be done before CSU students come back into town, right? And probably on the north side of town, that's not as impactful. But as a rafter, I'm thinking, well, okay, if I want to go up the Poudre and I go up North College, it's probably better to maybe take that through LaPorte Detour.
I don't know. We're keeping the traffic moving pretty good out
Are
there.
ya?
So,
Good.
yeah, I really, unless something out of the ordinary happens, the train often backs things up quite a bit out there. But it's pretty rare that the construction activities actually cause a backup that's very significant. So with the setup that we have now, with our work zone kind of barriered off and the 2 lanes going north, keeping that left turn lane open, it's actually working pretty well.
You've totally ruined my excuse to stop for a cinnamon roll. All right, okay, I'll just have my coffee and go. I mean, well, you guys, I think that's kind of the gist of it. 2 big projects, both taking place this summer. I'm going to remind people one more time of fcgov.com/fctrip. I think it's a good central spot. And as you guys sort of mobilize and things change, I'm sure you'll be reaching out to not only the businesses, but the community as well. So
I'd like to also add that under the engineering section of the FCGov page, if you go in there, you can sign up for email updates that you will get on a weekly basis, letting you know what's been taking place and what's expected the following week. So I suggest that if anybody's interested in knowing, they get on that email list.
It's a great suggestion.
Get regular updates.
It's the same for Harmony as well. Both projects have their own project-specific websites.
Great.
So it's fairly easy to sign up for the e-newsletter.
Great.
Yeah.
Great reminders. All right. Well, Tim Kemp and Randy Maislin, thank you, gentlemen, for
Thanks,
joining
Kim.
me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We appreciate the opportunity.
It's fun. All right. And thank you all for joining us today. This has been Studio 14. I'm Kim Newcomer with the City of Fort Collins, and we'll see you next time.